expectations versus reality when it comes to homeschooling and especially to preschool. Today I'm sharing with you our experience of what I expected to do for preschool and what I expected to use versus what actually happened. And hopefully you can get a lot of tips from this video. Hey there again, I'm Sarah, and if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I love meeting the people who are watching these videos, so please introduce yourself in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I make videos all about homeschooling, especially bilingual homeschooling, because my family is a multicultural family. We are from Brazil and America, and we live overseas in Asia, so we have a lot going on here, and I love sharing with you the resources and things that we love, and also things that we found not so helpful. Today, I'm going to talk to you all about what we have done for preschool, what I started out thinking we would do versus what we ended up actually doing. And hopefully this can give you a bit of clarity for yourself if you're looking at any of these resources that I will mention. Maybe this video will help you to set some more realistic expectations, or just feel free to adjust these things for yourself. So first of all, the things that we chose to use for preschool curriculum. We chose Sunlight curriculum, both of their preschool cores, as well as a gentle and classical and playing preschool. And then we also decided to add on to this preschool math at home and elemental phonics, and also the logic of English. So we just piled it all on there. Here's what I expected to use from each of those programs. From Sunlight Curriculum, I expected to go day by day through their instructor's guides, just like I did as a student in my own homeschooling experience in high school. And I expected to do all of the activities scheduled for each day, that we would have this great time sitting on the couch together and just reading books for hours on end. Here's what actually ended up happening. We ditched the instructor's guides. For both of those programs, I found that the instructor's guides went at a much slower, gentler pace than I had anticipated, and than my family actually had time and energy for. They're wonderful instructor's guides, and I have made an entire video of my review of Sunlight's Core T preschool program, and I will link that in the iCard above. You can use the program as it's intended, no problem, but in our case, we just had so many hours at home together that I wanted more structure to our day. So I ended up flying through the instructor's guides, and at some point through each of those guides, I ended up just not using them. If I were using an elementary curriculum from Sunlight or a high school curriculum from Sunlight, I would not do that. I would follow the instructor's guides very closely. They're extremely valuable. Especially if we're not feeling overwhelmed with the total number of books that Sunlight gives you to. But at this preschool level, it was just too light. That's what led me to consider adding in the gentle and the classical. And within gentle and the classical, the same thing. I expected I'm going to use all of these resources. We're going to do the memorization work, the Bible memorization work, the catechism work. We're going to do the manners. We're going to do all of the books. We're going to do just every memory statement, every musical thing, every art study within this curriculum. We actually just used book suggestions. We didn't even read all of them. We used the catechism songs, but not within the order that the program gave us. We just played them in the background throughout our day, and some of them caught on. Same with the Bible memory statements, Bible memory verses. We just played them in the background throughout our day. And with the manners, we didn't even use the book. I found that the memory statements were just a bit much for my boys' ages, because this program seemed like it was aimed at a higher age range. It was still gentle, still just as light as the Sunlight programs were, which worked well with combining them. And I have a video all about combining those two and how I made that work. But it just was a little more complicated. So the handicrafts, we never did any of the handicrafts. They were a bit too hard for my boys' ages, and my boys were 2 to 4 when we used this program. And it didn't fit with those age ranges, their ability level. Maybe it was because they were boys and not to stereotype boys, but they just didn't have the fine motor skills and the interest in those activities that maybe some other students would have had. That could just be a characteristic of my sons. And then as for the art and music, we loved the study of Peter and the Wolf. We devoured that. We did it so many times, and the storyboard was amazing. If I could go back, what I would do from the Gentle and Classical is I would just use their free guide, and then I would purchase separately their art and music pack. And that's all we would use. We didn't do anything with the preschool binder. I already had other things. It just felt like adding in some extra activities that we had already made space for in our homeschool and already found things that we loved. So maybe I over-resourced myself, but it was a good program to fit with the Sunlight program and to feel like we had more of a robust curriculum to go with for especially our first preschool year. But as time went on, we used less and less, or I felt like we used less and less of the actual written curriculum from the Gentle and the Classical. Now on to Preschool Math at Home. This is an excellent program. I was really excited going into it. I'd heard great things and it lived up to my expectations. We did not use all of the book, but we used most of the activities within the book. We started kindergarten math with confidence pretty soon after Preschool Math at Home, and actually before we had finished that book. A lot of the beginning units within Kindergarten Math with Confidence overlapped with the ending of Preschool Math at Home, and that's normal for math textbooks. You are expected to have a summer off, and so you have to do a lot of review to catch up. But if I had known that they overlapped as much as they did, I probably would have stopped Preschool Math at Home about halfway through that book and just jumped to Kindergarten Math with Confidence because we weren't taking a break. We were just plowing on. And for younger ages than my oldest son was when he was using this program, he was 4 when we started using Kindergarten Math with Confidence. It might be really good to have a ton of repetition and just go through Preschool Math at Home entirely. But in our case, there was that overlap, and I didn't know there was going to be that much overlap. Okay, phonics. We used elemental phonics with my son. I was not planning to use any formal phonics program until he was a bit older because my plan was Logic of English all the way. It is an excellent program and we are beginning to use it now, and I adore it. This is from a high school, middle school English teacher. So if you need a really strong recommendation of that program, here it is. I love Logic of English. Here is what we did though. About 3/4 of the way into our last school year, 2022 to 2023 school year, my oldest son started attending a preschool part-time. And this was something that was really helpful to him and to our family. But because he joined so late into the school year, his classmates had already learned most of the alphabet. And he knew the letters, but we were still needing to work on the sounds. And so I needed something a bit faster than the Logic of English, a little more basic, because the Logic of English teaches all of the phonic sounds for every letter right at the beginning, right from the beginning, which is wonderful. But for his case, his classmates didn't know all those. And so just to catch him up to everyone else, I decided to look for something really simple, found elemental phonics. It worked for what we needed it for. If I had to go and choose a phonics program, I would not choose elemental phonics as the only program I ever used, but it worked for what we needed it for, and it worked pretty quickly. So I have a video review of elemental phonics. Again, I'll leave that linked in the description box below. But we are now going into Logic of English. It's a bit more of what I expected to be doing actually for phonics within our homeschool, and we're just going to continue doing that now. Last of all, playing preschool. Where in the world did this thing come from? It was like it just dropped out of the sky and landed in my lap. I did not expect to use playing preschool. It was not on my radar. I had maybe seen it a few times mentioned through ads in various places online, but I thought Sunlight curriculum, and especially after we added the Gentle and Classical, were going to be enough for us. They weren't. My boys are very active boys, and also they needed to develop gross and fine motor skills, as well as just have some art activity, something more active in their learning of math and phonics and everything. And so I found playing preschool I didn't really know anyone who was using it, but I decided let's give it a try. It's not expensive. The example activities look great. It's from a kindergarten teacher, so of course she knows what she's doing. And it is amazing. It was even better than I expected. We are actually still finishing up Playing Preschool 1 and moving on to Playing Preschool 2. There are 2 years of this program, but I love everything so far. My boys love it. They love what we call our school day, and they expect some kind of activity now, and it's wonderful. It has really brought some closer bonds between us because we're doing the activities together, and I don't naturally tend to select activities to do with my sons because I don't like messes, and I don't have a hugely creative mind when it comes to kids' activities. But Playing Preschool was exactly what we needed. By the time we started Playing Preschool, we had actually dropped most of the structure of the Gentle and Classical and Sunlight, and we had just needed something more active, something more structured, and so Playing Preschool stood in that stead. And I don't like dropping something without finishing it. So we did finish the books from those 2 programs. We did continue studying things from those programs, but I felt okay dropping the actual structure. And now with Playing Preschool, I know that we're going to be finishing every unit within this curriculum because it's amazing and my boys absolutely love it. It's not overwhelming for me as a teacher either. So that is my expectations of what I would have used in preschool and everything that I bought thinking like, this is it, we're going to do this, versus the reality of what actually happened. So if you go back and look at all of my other videos in the past, so like, this is what we're going to do for preschool, now you know how it turned out. I really like watching these types of videos from other people because I don't want to just know from the beginning, like, this is so exciting and flashy and this is what we're going to do, and then never hear an update about like, well, how did it go? Or did it actually turn out the way that you wanted it to work? I don't like when I or other people like start something and stop it just because like this is the fad. And so I want to know, like, is this going to be a fad or is this really going to be an enduring, valuable quality resource? And so there you go. This video is not to bash any of these curricula. I'm not telling you you should not try them or use them or buy them, but I do hope that this video will give you some good ideas, some food for thought, and if you find yourself in a similar situation with your expectations of these curricula versus the reality of what you use, please tell me in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I have in the works a video about my dream preschool of what I would do if I could do it all over again, how I would structure our preschool, and how I am going to structure it. For our younger children, I'm going to be doing preschool again. And so I will tell you everything that I plan on doing now that I have the experience of all these different programs and what I think is going to work best. So stay tuned for that. If you have not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and make sure that you have the bell icon rung with the little lines around the bell so that YouTube does notify you of every video that comes out so you don't miss it. Otherwise, YouTube might not notify you when that video comes out. But if you are looking for other preschool videos to watch in the meantime, go ahead and check them out right here. And I will see you guys soon. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Ciao.